who brings this woman to be united in marriage.
Y'all knew I'd have to say a few words. Ian, this is my daughter, Bethany. You know her for a few years. Her and I go way back. In fact, I was there at the very moment when she was born. And it was a difficult delivery for her mother, and because it was, they had to work on her a little bit, which meant that I was the first one who got to hold her. They handed her right to me. And for about 45 minutes, I got to look in those blue eyes and marvel at the gift that had been entrusted to us by God. I wanted to say some things in those times, even knowing that Bethany might not understand them. I felt like I needed to say a couple of things. And so I did. The first thing I said to her was, Bethany, you belong to Jesus. Candy and I aren't so smart. We don't have a lot of wisdom. But we did somehow grasp this idea that children don't belong to their parents. They're only entrusted to them by God as a gift for a while. At best, we only rent them for a while. And I'll tell you, that rent can get pretty expensive sometimes. But we tried to raise Bethany with this understanding that she belonged to Jesus. We celebrated that in her baptism, and she affirmed it later in her acceptance of the same. We taught her that all of her beauty and all of her gifts were precious gifts straight from the hands of the Master, and that she belonged to Jesus. So as we give her to you today, we want to say that again, that she belongs to Jesus, and she's yours for a while too. The second thing I said to her is, Bethany, Jesus loves you. You know, we teach kids to sing that little song, Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. It's not completely accurate, because long before a child could ever read the Bible, or even before they could look up John 3:16 or know anything like that, we teach them that Jesus loves them. It's much more accurate to say, Jesus loves me, this I know, for my daddy told me so, or for my mommy told me so. And Kenny and I took very seriously that it was our responsibility in our love for one another, and in our love for Bethany and for our neighbors, to show the love of Christ to her. She would know what the love of Jesus looks like. And so, as we come to today, I'm reminded of the scriptures that says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. And as we give her to you today, it becomes your responsibility to continue to teach her what the love of Jesus looks like. What the love of the great bridegroom for his people, the church, looks like. What it looks like when the love of Jesus gets inside of a man who loves his wife. You'll teach her those things. And she'll teach you some things about love too. One last thing. In all these responsibilities, you'll fall short. And sometimes you'll fail. You both will. But the good news is that when that happens, that's when we fall back into the arms of Christ and his great mercy and grace to us, and the resources of his unconditional love that helps us to forgive and to move on. And if you have a long marriage, you'll have to forgive a lot. And I know you'll do that. And so, Bethany, you belong to Jesus. And Jesus loves you. And I believe that Ian loves you. And that you love him. And Ian, because you love Bethany, and because she loves you, and because we are convinced of Christ's great love for both of you and for all of us. And we know that you both belong to Him. And mostly because I've just about run out of things to say. It is with joy that we entrust to you our daughter, Bethany, who gives this right to be married to this man.